So I'm here this evening with Kirito, who has agreed to chat with me for just a few minutes in another interview in the continuing series I've been doing in preparation for the ESL World Finals coming up in Katowice, Poland in a few weeks. This is in preparation for the finals for the game Echo Arena from the company Ready at Dawn. We play this game on an Oculus Rift virtual reality headset. So, Kirito, how did you become involved in Echo Arena?
Well, actually, I first started when the beta released, way back the first beta, and I had my Rift about a month before that, so this was about the only game I've played.
So, what did you play before Echo Arena came out?
I played a lot of Smashbox, and then my wife played a lot of I forget what it's called now.
Robo Recall, maybe?
It's an Oculus exclusive where it's just like a showdown shooting.
Oh, Dead and Buried?
That one, yeah, Dead and Buried.
Yeah, that's a good game too. So you played which one? Smashbox, you said?
Yep.
And then Echo Arena came out, and then of course probably the story is you got addicted and you haven't looked back, right?
Correct. This is the only game I play now.
That's awesome. And I think we've kind of heard those same sentiments from a lot of other players, right?
Yes, indeed.
So you decided when you heard about the tournament, did you initially know that you were going to create a team and participate in the ESL tournament, or did you do that later? What was your story with that?
So once they announced that they were going to do an ESL tournament, there was a guy named Mazer that set up a Discord. So I just joined his Discord, and I was able to meet up with the two players that I'm playing with now. And then we just partied up, and we've been playing ever since.
Oh, that's awesome. And your teammates are Dark Ninja and Robot's Mind, right?
Yes.
Yes, both really nice guys. That's awesome. Well, and how have you guys been doing in the tournaments?
We've been doing better, especially since the Chronos release. I think we're ranked 12 or 11th now, but we've really been enjoying it.
For those who don't know, the Chronos release, basically, before that, the disc was always repositioned to the center of the arena. So when we came out, everybody had to launch and joust basically every single time. And so that gave some teams an advantage. If they won the joust, then basically every time they were going to get the disc and score. So the Chronos update basically repositioned it so that the team that did not get a point the previous round, they actually have initial possession in the next round. And so that has been a big difference for a lot of teams, wouldn't you say?
Yes. Makes it your team a lot more consistent.
Right. And I think one cool thing about it, I don't know if you agree, but I love the fact that you seem to be able to have more play options now. Like there seem to be more options for variations of plays that you can do.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. What kind of strategy do you do to try to perform better in the game?
So currently what we have is we have a set of plays that we run straight out of the tube. And so we have fancy names for all of them, but generally what they consist of is our players spreading out either on one side or opposite sides so we can keep possession early in the game. However, we found that as we worked our way up through the ESL ranks that the top 4 teams are really fast at jousting. So then what we do is we pull all of our people back even further and keep in possession in the defensive third. And then we'll slowly work our way up. And then if they decide to pull all their people up, then that's when we just pull a Hail Mary and just bounce it off the bottom and send our 2 people deep.
Okay, so what is your plan for defense? What do you guys like to do?
Typically on defense, what we'll do is we'll play one deep to go for the QB, one stays in the middle, and the other person will hang back for their long clear, especially because a lot of teams will like to clear to one tube and then do an immediate pass down low. So that'll be my job mainly to pick that off or to keep the goalie and let my team get back. But whenever we're rushed for time and we're down for points, I will actually push up with Robot in the middle, and I'll either hang on his back so we can do a chain boost to just grab their first pass, or we'll split it through the tubes and just make sure that they do not get past us, and we will try to pick the first pass off.
How do you try to deal with teams that have a goalie all the time?
So what we do is we just keep possession of the disc longer. So we have numbers advantage, and we'll just keep our triangle, and we will go work our way down. So whenever they do have a possession, we will use the back pass much more. And then we will just run their 2 chasers until we get open. And then we will crash the box and either punch their goalie out or just bounce it off the backboard.
There are some teams that have enforcers where one person that punches quite a bit. I believe that my team right now, Team Titan, Dual 8, and I are both enforcers. I think we're the only team in the ESL league that actually has 2 enforcers on it right now. But how do you deal with teams that have really strong enforcers? Like most people average about 4 stuns per game, and we average around 20. So how do you deal with a situation where you have somebody punching you out nonstop?
So typically what I try to do is I always tell my team, you after the first couple of jousts, you get an idea of if they have enforcers or if they don't. And whenever they do, I always tell my team to make sure we're blocking our heads a lot just to slow them down, not necessarily to block the enforce. But if they're people that like to hang on to their bodies, then I will make sure my team drifts away from the disc. So that way, even if they do get that enforcing punch, they do not get any advantage on the progression forward.
Kirito, since Christmas, it seems like we've had quite a few new players join the game. I've noticed a lot of newer people that have come in. Do you, as a higher ranked player who has been in the game since the beginning, do you have any advice for those people?
I would say definitely keep watching videos, keep learning. Definitely use that spectate button because they will drop you into the higher ranked games and just watch the flow of other teams. Watch them how they find their teammates or find opponents and they joust off each other to keep the game pace high. But also watch the people that aren't close to the disc because that's the one distinguishing factor between lower level play and higher level play is lower level play, all three people are going after the same disc. Whereas if you watch the higher level people, one person's going for the disc and the other people are just kind of scattered around the arena. So that way they can just make a slap clear to that direction and then you gain possession of the disc. So definitely use the spectate, definitely use private matching. Once you do find a couple people you like playing with, my team will always start our practices and going into an empty arena and just practicing our joust or practicing our coordinated plays like we were talking about earlier, just to get warmed up and get those rust off. And then we will jump into a game and just have fun with it.
That's awesome. That's really good advice. And I love the advice you said about watching not necessarily the person or people going toward the disc. Because if you do watch a lot of lower rank, I want to hoard the disc and hold the disc. And I'm always yelling at them, throw it, throw it. Because, of course, if they do that, the next thing that's going to happen is the disc is going to get stolen. And so the best thing that they can do, one of the best things they can learn is how to coordinate with their team on where to go so they can actually be prepared to not only have the disc but throw it to a teammate, because a lot of people just don't seem to realize at that low of a level that it is absolutely a team sport. It's a team sport. You have to
Yes.
rely on your team.
Yes, indeed. Communication is key. A lot of times when you do play an ESL team, they will have private comms so you actually don't hear them. I would recommend to those teams whenever they jump into public matches to take those out just so other newbie players can hear what kind of communication the ESL teams do have. But even when you go into a regular private match or a public match, just always be vocal with your team. If you're a person that doesn't have a mic or you don't like using your mic, I would encourage you to get away from that and just be vocal. Let them know where you're at. If you're in with a designated team, get code names so each little block in the arena so that way your team knows exactly where you're located, and that will help your game flow out a lot.
Well, Credo, thank you so much for meeting with me this evening. I really appreciate you taking the time to do that. I think you offered some great advice to new players, and also it's wonderful for the other players who've known you for the past 8 months or so to be able to hear some of your thoughts on your strategy for your team and some of your experiences. That's always fun for the rest of us. So thank you so much for taking the time to do the interview, and I hope you have a great weekend, and I will catch you soon.
Yes, indeed.
Have a good night.